that you're going to get taxed, and tax laws change. Can you imagine moving your entire life to a place and then that state changes their tax laws? Welcome to the Retire on Time Q&A podcast, a podcast that's a complement to the book How to Retire on Time. I'm Mike Decker, the author of the book. We got David Franson here asking your questions. As always, text your questions to 913-363-1234. This show is all about the nitty-gritty. Instead of that oversimplified advice you've heard hundreds of times, let's bring context into the equation. That said, remember, this is just a show, not financial advice. David, what do we got today?
Hey, Mike, is it worth moving to a tax-free state in retirement?
It depends. So there are differences when it comes to income taxes, right? So if you have, you save in your IRA, save in your 401k, you take money out, are you going to pay income tax or not?
Yeah.
So that is a consideration. And then you have certain states that maybe have an income tax, but no IRA distribution tax. There's a couple of those.
Oh,
Most states won't tax you on Social Security. It's just a federal taxation, but still you want to consider that, all things considered, right? But um, but and I'm going to be just a bit facetious here for a second. I don't think it makes sense to move to a state for 5 years to then accomplish your IRA to Roth conversions and then move back,
mm,
right? Like, how much are you really saving and what's the cost of moving?
mm-hmm.
And then the other thing too is, uh, okay, they might not have income tax or be more tax efficient in that way, but they might have other taxes that will affect you. So, for example, Texas is a income tax free state,
Mm-hmm.
but they have high property tax.
Yeah, so it sounds good on paper. Ooh, no, I'm not getting taxed by them. But then your property tax bill comes and yikes.
Yeah, so you want to look at, really, the if let's just put five. I'm going to use that as an arbitrary number and fill in the gaps here.
Okay.
Income tax, Social Security tax, and then IRA distribution tax. Look at those as like a starting standpoint, and then look at real estate tax, and then look at sales tax.
Oh,
Those
yes.
are kind of the big ones that might affect your decision overall. Some of the more tax efficient states for retirees are like Tennessee, Alaska, Florida, for example.
Mm,
Nevada is a pretty good one. They got a high sales tax, but overall, Nevada's a pretty good state too. But even then, in those states, you need to consider the city that you're living in.
okay.
Okay, so if you live more towards a metropolis, right, a larger city, higher cost of living.
All right.
If you live in the middle of nowhere, even if there's income tax, it might just be a more affordable place to live.
Mm,
What's the cost of buying a house or buying a hobby farm? I think of we're here in Kansas City, right, middle of the country, which is a
mm-hmm.
lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reasonable, it's a reasonable cost of living
Yeah, I think
here.
so. Yeah.
I think it's more than fair. I came from Seattle, Washington, so it's quite
Yes.
nice here compared to Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
But even here, if we go 2 hours south, it's extremely cheap to live.
Uh,
And the same is true if you're in Washington, Seattle, Washington. If you go to Eastern Washington, it's going to be a lot cheaper to live for many aspects than it would be living in, let's say, Bellevue, Washington, or Seattle, Washington. Or
yeah.
so you what's the real question here? Is it to make the government as poor as possible? That's kind of a crappy guideline.
It seems like the government will still, whether it's federal, state, or local or county, they'll find a way.
You're going to get taxed, and tax laws change.
Yeah.
Can you imagine moving your entire life to a place and then that state changes their tax laws
Right. Yeah.
or increases one or the other? So ask yourself, where do you want to live?
Yeah.
That's the important question. And then within those tax laws, does it make does it make sense to do certain things now before you move and then after, or and then just kind of line up that way?
Mm,
Just be aware of it. I don't move to avoid taxes. Live your best life and plan around that. Uh, there is something to be said though about maybe like the first 10 years of your retirement and then the second 10 years of your retirement. I know a lot of people, like, for example, Washington State, which is probably one of the worst states to die in, even though they don't have any income tax. There's the estate tax issues. There's a lot of
mm.
issues in dying in Washington State.
Oh.
So there's a lot of people I know up there that are going to try and move to Idaho when they die, right? So
Huh.
um, there is something to be said about maybe first half of retirement, second half of retirement, different seasons of retirement. When you go to a nursing facility, where are you going to go? if you go to nursing. So, but it's not just a tax conversation. It's a lifestyle conversation. It's a support system conversation. It's
Mm,
a I would even say as a connection conversation. Because if you move away from
yeah,
all of your family,
right.
is it worth it to be
Just
that
to
lonely?
just to not pay state income tax.
I mean, FaceTime is only as good as FaceTime. It's not as
Yeah,
meaningful. So,
yeah,
don't throw the baby out with bathwater. Don't just try to avoid taxes. Be considerate about the whole picture.
sure.
That's my answer.
Yeah, and to your point too, like what tax laws change, right? I know in Missouri right now, as of this recording, they're proposing to get rid of their state income tax. So what if you're in Missouri, you leave to go to a tax-free state, and oh, and by the way, Missouri changed, and now there's none there.
Yeah,
Why'd you leave?
I live in Kansas right now.
Yeah.
So and my wife's from Kansas. I'm supposed to never want to live in Missouri, but I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
if that law passes,
Uh-huh.
yeah, Brookside's looking very appealing right now.
Great neighborhood.
Great neighborhood.
Love that neighborhood, by
And
the way.
but we don't and yeah, that's a whole
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
a
whole
big can of
situation.
worms, but
But I
yeah.
mean, if you're living on the state line
Mhm.
like that, wouldn't bug me.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in the same metropolitan area,
So anyway,
which yeah.
these are things to consider. But anyway, tax
Yeah.
laws changed. Tax codes written in pencil. Be aware of
Yes.
that. But live your best life. Don't jump over dimes to pick up pennies, as they say.
That's probably the moral of the whole story here, I think.
Yeah, and good
Right.
luck with that. But it's important to know
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
So that's all the time we've got for this question, though. If you enjoyed the question, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating, subscribe to us on YouTube. Go to retireontime.com to get the book, the workbook, access to all of the planning resources that we've made publicly available to you, and join me live in a workshop where I put a plan together live. And then from there, I'll answer your questions. Actually, answer your questions along as the plan is created. All of that is retireontime.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.